Hi, I'm Eleni, and we'll talk about overwhelm today. Now, most people in our society are either at or very close to overwhelm all the time. Why? It's because of the information that's growing and that we find and access every day via social media, the news. It's about how at work we try to improve productivity and we think that more is better, so we pile on more work on people, let's say when other people quit or other people are laid off. We are trying to balance home and family, and those are kind of two jobs, taking care of family and having a job, and we assume that we can do them both. So we're often faced with overwhelm. This is something that is reflecting of our times. So we need strategies to approach that. And here's one, using triads. Now, if you remember from other videos, triads are just a pictorial way of describing and drawing out what you're thinking and you're feeling and what you actually do. You can call it a mindset. Some people say mindsets don't include behavior, but for our videos and human-centric leading, we really think about mindsets as what you think, what you do, and what you feel. So let's go to a common example of overwhelm. There are very specific thoughts that link to overwhelm. So what you'll notice is overwhelm is a state of mind. It's not the situation you're in. So you can easily be overwhelmed and not overwhelmed in the same situation, and that's the point of this video. So if we have thought, feeling, behavior, these are some thoughts like I haven't done this, I haven't done that, I need to do this, I better do that, I don't have enough time. These are common thoughts that we think when we're in an overwhelmed state. So overwhelmed is like a wide angle lens that we're looking at everything, what we haven't done, what we need to do, what we should have done, what we could have done, what we will have to do. We look at everything at the same time, and that creates anxiety and fatigue and overwhelm. And common responses, although these are not the only responses, but common responses are that we procrastinate or we shut down altogether. We can also be very reactive and do things, in a sudden way, in a very a way that's called, fast thinking. If you read the book by Kahneman, Fast and Slow Thinking, it's like this fast thinking is this automatic thinking, and that happens often when we're anxious and stressed and tired. And so there are a lot of ways we behave, and we know what we do and how we think and how we feel when we're in overwhelm. So what do? We take the wide angle lens and we make it more narrow. It doesn't mean we'll ignore other things. It means we start to focus so that we can prioritize. So we start to say, let's say I want to feel calm in everyday matters, okay? So if you feel calm, you can handle things in a more responsive way instead of reactive in an anxious way. And you have to think in certain ways. You say, I'll find a way, or I'll prioritize and do the most important things first. I'm okay. Okay, that's the most important thought any one of us can have is I'm okay. Regardless of what happens, I can find a way to handle the situation, even if it's painful. So when we're calm and we'll find a way, we focus on one next small step. We can ask ourselves, instead of saying I haven't done X, we could ask ourselves, what is one good thing I could do right now? What is the most beneficial thing I could do right now? What is the most easy thing I could do right now? Like low-hanging fruit. That could be a thought and a behavior. Prioritize things, delegate. So if you notice, these triads are very different in the same context. And that's what we're being asked to do in our world today, is figure out how to deal with all this massive information and access to information and constant contact and overloaded work environments, and figure out how to be calm. And this is a state of being. It doesn't mean reject you're not doing. It doesn't mean dump a lot of things. It doesn't mean really something, that's irresponsible. It means, okay, let me focus and take one thing at a time. It could mean a discussion with one's family or your team, people you work with, people you live with, to say, what could we do? How could we handle XYZ responsibilities or activities? So it's, you could have a lot more behavior, and this is just an example, but this is really what the message of this video is. Wide angle, okay, overwhelm is a wide angle, and then being calm is a focus, zoom angle, zoom lens. And so you can always start to think of it. Oh, am I overwhelmed? Wide angle. Okay, what do I need to do? Focus, zoom lens. And so you can pivot from this. Whenever you get to this, you can pivot again and say, okay, I got overwhelmed. People are asking, like 3 people are talking to me at the same time. What could I do? Focus on one person. Then I'll say, how about we do things one at a time? And we ask people to talk to us one at a time, or we just take a moment to breathe. We create some space, because a lot of time overwhelm comes with speed. A lot of things happening at the same time in a fast way. And this asks us to slow it down even a little bit, to say, let's do one at a time, or prioritize, and then other people go and do things. So it's kind of divide and conquer kind of mentality, so that things get done, but in a way where everyone can feel calm. And a question could even be, what do we need to feel calm in this moment while we're overwhelmed? We need to focus, and then which things are most important? And then what could we do as a next small step to achieve those? And these questions are very easy to ask, and you could just do it as a habit. It's like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, narrow lens, wide angle lens, narrow, wide angle, narrow. And then you can get the hang of it. So I'd love for you to question yourself and see, what do you do when you're overwhelmed? Like, draw out a triad for yourself, and then see, what would you like to do? How would you like to feel most of the time? And you could draw out a triad and see how you'd like to feel instead of being overwhelmed at the time. And let us know how it goes.